Good afternoon. Good morning. Why did I say afternoon? I screwed it up. Now it's terrible. It's going to be a terrible stream. Just kidding. Good morning. So today we're going to cover two videos as per usual. But what I want to do a little bit differently is I'm going to explain my process a little bit this time around. Oops, I have two of those things going. So I will delete one. Go ahead and do that real quick. Because I accidentally made two. Now, apparently I make a lot of these mistakes. But I'm learning. I am learning how to do this. And I think that's what's important. Anyway, I do kind of want to cover my process a little bit. Because you guys deserve to understand how I go about this. Because it's not easy. It's not a simple thing that I do. Well, it's kind of simple. Let's see. Channel. Wait, is it? Oh, are we good? I think we're good. Drink some of my coffee. Anyway, dudes and dudettes and everyone else, welcome. Oh, here we go. Okay. Better. Pop out of those. But yeah, so let me explain my process a little bit. So what I do with this, the goal of this show is to kind of look at fitness videos and adjacent across the internet. And the reason behind that is so that I can discuss why things work here, why they don't work here, etc. There were a couple videos I saw that I wanted to cover, but let me get a little bit closer to the mic. I see my audio levels a little lower than I want them to be. But so, why I say but so. But there was a video I wanted to cover, several. There were a lot of videos I wanted to cover. But what was the problem with them was that they were low-hanging fruit. They were too easy to like criticize and shit on. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to just shit on other people's videos like that. Because other people do that just fine. I don't need to also do that. Instead, I want to talk about what they did right, what they did wrong, maybe the perception behind them, and have a full conversation about them. So that's the idea, anyway. In saying that that is the idea, we are going to cover two videos. Now, like I said, there are some low-hanging fruit. Like, there's this one person, I think her name's like Holly Dolk, or Holly Dolke. Like, she is every terrible fitness fad put together, and she has so many people who watch her. And you know why. It's because she looks really good. Like, she's a very good-looking woman. But the big thing is, just because someone looks good does not mean they know what they're talking about. Like, at all. Hell, sometimes there are people with PhDs that don't know what the hell they're talking about. Joel Seedman. I should have backed away from the mic. Okay, I'm learning. I'm getting better. Okay, I'm going to get better at this. Obviously, like a really good advantage of not having the gain really high and talking really quietly is that it's harder to hear. It's harder to hear all my lisms and tisms. But I have to turn the gain really high, so you might get more of that. So I gotta be a little more careful with when I do things in the mic. I'm gonna get better. This is me getting better. Anyway, Hopefully that's wasted a little bit of time for anyone who wants to come in. Or if you want to watch this later, that's also fine too. But let's go ahead. Oh, let me tell a short story. Okay, so I have a lot of monitors. Not all of them are connected to something, but I have this little portable one that I wanted to use for this so I can manage everything on a separate monitor. But what happened is that I can't find my micro HDMI, so I can't use it. I don't want to wait too long to start the show because I like to kind of keep it somewhat consistent, but I can't find it. Oh, and the reason why I'm doing this Saturday is because of schedule reasons. Anyway, now that all of that's explained for no reason at all, let's get started. We're going to pop that off. We're going to pop this on. Okay, so the first video we are covering is Halo the series, making of Master Chief, getting into Spartan shape, Paramount Plus. Now, if you are a remote fan of Halo the series of Halo, I'm sure you've heard the show is absolutely terrible. I have, and I am a fan, but I refuse to watch. But because I refuse to watch, I don't entirely understand why it's bad. I mean, I do. People have explained it. I've watched so many reviews. Here's one right here. I got sick of this one because it got too religious on me. And I was like, ugh. Too much to talk about the show. But it's their show. They can talk about what they want to. I'm okay with that. I'm 100% okay with you talking about what you want on your show. But yeah, this is basically the main dude bro guy talking about how he got into shape for the show. And I have some problems with it. Overall, I have problems with celebrity fitness videos as a whole, and this one has a lot of those issues. So let's get started.
Hey guys, Pablo Schreiber here. We're at my home gym. Wanted to give you a little behind the scenes peek at the process of making Master Chief.
Master Chief, huh?
Master Chief is way shorter in this than he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be like 7'2", but you know, whatever, it's fine. Actually, it's not fine. I don't really understand why they get for like roles where you have like the helmet on the vast majority of times. I don't know why they don't hire like a strongman or something, because you know, high profile strongmen, a lot of them are like 6'8", 6'9", something like that, and that would look much better on camera. You don't have to do camera tricks or pretend that it's not weird, because they're already really tall and really big. In fact, you probably don't even have to like have them do that much training either, because they're already really tall and really big. They might have to lose some weight, but you know, I'm sure they would. Game of Thrones did it with the Mountain. Half Thor is like, what? He's like 6'9". They got him on the show, like, and there's not really an excuse, because you could say, oh, well, they can't act. It's like, you don't need them to act. You need them to do physical acting, which isn't that hard. Well, it might be kind of hard, but you can teach them while you have a different person do the voices. Like, you can't see their face. Like, I don't know. I think that's really lazy. Anyway, I guess we should keep going.
Humanity's best weapon.
When I was in high school, I was 145 pounds, 6'3", so I'm a very thin, skinny person by nature.
That's really skinny. So right here we have him doing a landmine press.
It's a challenge for me to...
So that is a shoulder exercise. I don't think it's any better than any other shoulder exercise. But yeah, I mean, that's fine. Good for building the shoulders up. I mean, he looks like he has okay shoulders. He can work on them traps, though. Those traps could use some work. And those lats. A little bit.
To put on muscle and to gain
Oh
weight.
my god, that's terrible. So, I've seen this video before. But I like to wait a few days so my reactions are about the same. Let's see if I can rewind a little bit. Okay, so anyone who's familiar with any kind of Olympic lifting knows this is a terrible position to be in. Okay? If you want to do like any kind of press like this, even if it's just an overhead press, your elbow. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Okay? His posture seems fine. I can't see what's below, so we won't focus on that. But number one, your elbows should be under your hands. So get your elbows up. Like he is like he's almost like this is gonna fall. This seems like it's gonna fall. It's putting undue stress on the wrist because his elbows are way behind his hands. Get your elbows up, probably right about here, and then yeah. So pick that up. Number two, get the bar out from your hand and put it more in your palm. That's a weird one. It takes a while to kind of learn how to do that, but you don't want the bar in your fingers. And I get it. It's not actually in his fingers, but you want the bar. If you don't know, look up bulldog grip. It's so helpful. But essentially, where the gap between your thumb and your pointer finger, that's where the bar should come in. And then it should also be, and it should go kind of diagonal on your hand onto the meat of your palm. The reason why you do this is that it'll be more stable. And so it's just more stable in your hand, and it saves your wrist. If you can't do that, you can do that. I don't know why I'm saying if you can't. But you really don't want the bar like on like your knuckles, because it's going to do this to your wrist and put undue stress on your wrists. Like, I'm already really upset with this trainer for allowing this and then showing it. This is like really bad, and you could get pretty hurt, or at least just wear out your wrists. Really bad stuff.
Put on muscle and to gain weight.
Okay, let's see. Let's go to settings. We're going to put it in 0.25 for a second. There's something I want to show you. Watch.
Muscle. Put on.
Okay, see how when he goes down, when he's about to press it up, the bar goes down too, so it's putting extra stress on the wrist.
Muscle.
So before it goes up, it goes down. That's really bad stuff. That's why you want your elbows higher. And essentially what's going to happen when you get really good is that it's going to sit right above your your clavicle area. It's not going to rest on your clavicle, but it's going to sit right above it. And the problem with that is that it has to go down before it goes up. But as your flexibility gets better, you can keep your elbows either in front of or under your wrists. You're going to be able to rest it right on your chest, so it can't go down anymore. So then your presses will be much better because you're not wasting like momentum and energy with the bar going down and then coming up. And it helps with longevity. Let's put this back to regular speed.
To gain weight. The Spartans went through a very, very intensive process of physical.
I don't think he knows what the process was, but it's okay. I read all the books and watched all the videos and stuff.
Augmentation.
The Master Chief was enhanced and trained for one purpose: to win this war.
I mean, technically, he was enhanced and trained to stop the insurrectionists, but you know, that's fine. It's a different adaptation, whatever.
So we're here trying to recreate the same physical augmentation.
You can't, but they are real. I mean, not real, but they are possible. I don't think you'd want to, though, because it would be very painful and very expensive.
With just iron, sweat.
Oh my god, no. No. Oh, no. No, no, no. Please, God, no. Okay, look at this. Look at this. Okay, I can tell you every problem with this. I'm not an Olympic lifter, but I've done a lot of hang cleans and power cleans. I used to call it clings, but it's a clean. So what he's doing is, it's hard to explain because I don't know the terminology all the time. But see, okay, two things that happened. Okay. Number one, you don't let your elbows bend like this. You never do that. Because what's going to happen? It's going to snap. It's going to snap straight again. So why don't you do that? Well, it's the same reason why you don't like deadlift with bent arms. It's going to force your arms straight. It's going to put undue pressure on the bicep. Keep your arms straight until you're coming up and you're already like breaking the plane. That's number one. Number two, and he's just flinging it with his hips, kind of. Like I said, his elbows are bent, already bad. He didn't get low enough, so he's compensating for the hinging of his hips with his elbows. That's no good. And then what he's going to do is that he doesn't get under the bar. He just kind of bends his knee slightly. I could pop this open real quick. I'm going to type this in super fast. What is it? Well, let's do a hang clean. Yeah, why do I have Steven Crowder on my thing? I guess just because I watch similar things. Okay, let's skip ahead.
Is that what we're going to focus on?
Shut up. I don't care what you have to say. See, straight arms, and then let's get to the end. Okay, he's got bend, right? So he's about to go. Arms are straight. He's bending at the hips, not at the elbows. He pops up. He doesn't get under the bar. This happens because it's really light. But you see how he gets under it afterwards? Like he pops it up. Let's go back. Right? Full hip extension. He's popping it up. His elbows are bent now because he broke the plane at which he cannot keep his arms straight anymore. Then he gets under it. Let's see if I can get better. No, not autoplay. Let's see. Then I'll slow it down. Up. He's under it. He gets under the bar. That's the big thing you want to do. You want to get under it. You don't want to try to catch it while you're standing up. You want to support it from under. That's a better way to think about it. You're going to support from under it rather than I'm going to catch it up here. I should have picked the one with the cute girl, but we're not going to do that. They're going to be good boys and girls. Well, good boys. But yeah, that is a big problem that he's doing, and he's done it twice now, which honestly pisses me off a little bit.
Sweat.
And like, I'm not mad at him because like, how would he know? He's not an Olympic lifter, but his trainer should know better. If you can't do a movement right, don't do the movement.
And blood. Let's get started. Let's do it.
Something I really hate too is that we don't get any explanations for why they're doing anything. And he's got to do another L sit, which is a core exercise. But we're not explaining why he's doing that over a plank or setups or anything like that.
So what we're doing, Pablo, is with him having the genetics of being a leaner person, we're trying to get him to be this big-chested Master Chief. Come on, B, keep going. Last step
Face
for now.
pulls with bad form. It seems like he's humping the air to do these. That's not great.
Right, this guy who's won every decorated medal there is, never.
I don't think Master Chief has won any medals because he's the people. Well, at least in the first three movies, not movies, games. The first three games, nobody knows he exists. That's a big thing. Like, the Spartans have a lot of controversy because they were kidnapped at 6, especially Spartan 2s. They were kidnapped at 6 and then experimented on all these things. The public doesn't really know Spartans exist for the most part. They don't have medals, and nor do like most Spartans care about medals. They are just here to do their job. They're highly indoctrinated. A lot of them are not very emotional. You have a few that have a little more personality than others, but that's more common with 3s, since they are a little bit older before they're taken into the system and augmented. And a lot of 3s, they're whatchamacallit, kind of manipulated because their parents. So with Spartan 3s, a lot of them are war orphans from the Covenant War. And so they kind of, so ONI, Office of Naval Intelligence, they feed that hatred to make them like even more effective. Although most of them do die. But on the other side of that, the 2s, since they were indoctrinated at such a young age, they don't have that like hatred and emotionality. It's just, this is what we got to do. Okay, I protect you, you protect me, we kill the guys who are a problem.
Never been beaten, right? The fact is that Pablo is the hardest worker in the room, and he always will be.
Maybe.
Come on.
Again, they've done this so many times. They're doing a clean and press, but his clean is shit. Like, I get it. It's really hard to get from the clean to a press. It's rather difficult, but you practice for it. You train it. You use proper technique so he doesn't get hurt. It's a miracle that he doesn't get hurt. Because he's putting himself in such a disadvantaged position already. Hell, he might be a lot stronger than this if you gave him like the proper setup. Oh my god. Your shoulder press is so bad. This is like beginner shoulder press. Like, this is when you don't know what you're doing. Hold on. Sorry, we gotta mute this for a second because we're teaching right now. 25. I was gonna do this like video in a separate video because I didn't think it was enough to do like part of a stream on, but I was very, very wrong. Wow. Okay, he does the terrible clean. Catches it in a terrible position. Look at that. See, elbows are constantly behind his wrist. He does push his head through the window, so that's really good. Okay, look right here. Remember when I said he puts himself in a bad position? This is a very bad position. Elbows are in and behind his wrists. All the weight is coming forward. So he's fighting the weight coming forward instead of just worrying about it going up. I think someone's cutting the grass or something. No, that might be a plane. I don't know if y'all can hear it. I can hear it. Anyway. So, his elbows are tucked into his sides. They are not under his wrists, nor are they like in front or around his wrists. So he's in a bad position there. The bar is really low. His chest is like in when it should be up and stable. This is all around a really bad position, and I assume either the weight is light enough or he's strong enough to kind of fight his bad form, because this is like horrid. Oh, I guess I could turn the sound on again. I put the links to the videos in the description, so if you want to watch them yourself without my commentary and without me pausing all the time, you can. But if you're going to watch them through here, we're going to be pausing and talking a lot.
So as long as he doesn't do anything too dumb, we're gonna.
Yeah. Shut the fuck up. Like, you're the one who's, like, telling him to do these exercises without good form. Like, as long as he doesn't do anything dumb. Like, shut up.
Be just fine.
Cheat curls. Lateral raises.
At least I don't need any inspiration.
Really
Because he's constantly
standard
pissing me
stuff.
off.
Hey, whatever gets the chief moving. There you go. Pete, come on.
Kneeling, landmine press? Okay. That is an exercise choice.
I'm eating 5,000 calories a day.
No, you're not. He's lying. He's not eating 5,000 calories a day. You want to know why? Because 5,000 calories a day is actually a lot. And I made this mistake before when I thought I was eating 5,000 calories a day. No. That's like bro science numbers. That's, if he was eating 5,000 calories a day, he either just started doing that or he's lying, because 5,000 calories would make him fat. That is a lot of calories. Like, extra. If he said like 4,000, I'd be preferable with like, 3,200, 3,500. That's like, that makes way more sense than 5,000. 5,000 is such a huge surplus. You don't need a huge surplus. Even if you're dirty bulking, which I recommend against, you don't need that big of a surplus. Maybe like at 1,000 calorie surplus. But 5,000, I think he's lying. He's bullshitting, because there's no way he'd be a fat ass. No.
It's a massive undertaking in and of itself, getting all those calories in me, perfecting the mix of 40% carb, 40% fat, 20% protein.
I don't know how much he weighs, but if I had to guess, right, let's say 210. And let's say he's not on any PEDs. I'm not saying he is, but let's say he's not. That's 210 grams of protein. Let's load that to 200, and then you have 4 calories per gram of protein. That is, so we have 200 times 4. That's 800. And then we have 5,000. And then 10% of 5,000 is 500. And then 20%, that's like 1,000. So maybe he's right. Maybe he's right on that. Okay. Then again, this could all be scripted, and someone could have done the math for him. So whatever.
Come on. Go.
Or cry.
I hope those are rubber plates, because he would be destroying his equipment if they aren't.
You guys tired yet?
Oh yeah.
Oh, susu.
Gotta get the dog in there to win everyone's hearts over.
All right, guys, we've had a fantastic time. Thank you for joining us at the compound.
I barely saw the compound. We saw like part of your yard.
We'll see you in Budapest.
When I first
I mean, he's pretty tall, but again, he's 6'3".
saw Pablo don the Mjolnir armor, it just felt like a dream come true. And Pablo just brings it to life with such ease, and he's a great leader on the set.
So we have some running going. I'm not a huge fan of running on concrete. I think it's bad for your shins, but whatever.
Here you go.
Okay, I mean, I guess there's not much to say here because they are just running. We're not getting any information. They have this small plate or thing here. I assume it's a plate, but it's probably not a lot of weight they're adding.
Thank you for like your leadership nonstop.
Remember when he said he was gonna make get Pablo to this big chested Master Chief? Well, I don't think they worked any chest. I think it was all shoulders. That whole video, it was all shoulders. Kind of weird.
And in dedication to these people, it's unbelievable, man, and it's awesome.
I think you're a bad trainer. I'm gonna say it right now. I think you're crap.
Awesome, and it shows through, man.
To have the responsibility of face of the franchise, even though the face is a helmet.
You know how funny this line is? Because they took off his helmet twice already in the show. Okay, we're gonna stop this video because it's just gonna become a rant about everything I know about the Halo show. Because Master Chief doesn't really take off his helmet. In fact, we haven't seen Master Chief's face in the games at all other than his eyes. So I don't know what the fuck they're doing. But anyway, yeah, we need to get on to the training criticism. This video doesn't have a lot to talk about, but from what I saw, there's a lot of bad. There's some okay, but there's not really a lot of good. Like, he did some standard exercises that I thought were fine, but some of them were just really, really bad for him. Take that for what you want. I don't think his trainer's very good because he let him do things like that. Either correct their form or remove the exercise and replace it with something else. But that's not what they did. So I am pretty peeved by that whole thing. But yeah, that is the end of this video. I mean, we have more, but it's just talking about the show. So let's go ahead and move on to this one. Now you might be wondering, why is it already at the end of the video? Two reasons. One, okay, mostly it's just to get rid of the ads. Because I don't want to play their ads while we're talking about everything. So let's go to the beginning. Play with sound. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of that. Save that CPU. So I have very mixed feelings about gravity transformation. Because a lot of what he says isn't wrong, but a lot of what he says is wrong. And that might be everyone. But the reason why I picked this video is because there's a lot to discuss about the whole thing. So I'm going to take a second, gather my thoughts. Okay. So I had to check my phone real quick. I said gather my thoughts, but that was kind of a lie. But it's kind of not, because I am gathering my thoughts on him. I think a lot of what he says is like almost right. I think that's how I would describe it. It's like almost something I would recommend. I think there's a lot of good in this video. However, I think it's a little weird. So let's get started and you'll see what I mean.
Shoulders give off a more athletic, strong, and attractive appearance than having underdeveloped shoulders. So if you want to build up your shoulders, you want to make sure.
Also, he does these videos like video essayists do for like movie stuff, and I really hate it. I'll point it out to you, the biggest thing I hate.
Sure that you're doing the most effective.
There we go. Get away. There we go. This right here, this pisses me off. I can hear you, and these aren't captions, so this isn't very effective. Ah, that's funny. Effective. And you might be wondering, well, what if you're hearing impaired? Captions would be nice. But this is just, like, stupid. Because it's like, what does this tell me? Not really anything. What do captions tell me? It tells me what you're saying. So, unless you're talking about a specific chapter, I don't think this is very good at all.
And efficient exercises to get results faster. And I'm sure most of you don't have a ton of time to figure out which exercises and workouts produce better results. That's why
I mean, are there any more effective exercises? Like, there are ones that I think are bad, but I think a lot of exercises aren't like, these are the best. I think they might be the best for you. They might be the best for your goals. I do not think you will usually run into these are the best exercises, period.
why I want to go over the only shoulder exercises that you need to get full three-dimensional defined looking
No.
shoulders in no time. So first, we have to start with dumbbell overhead presses because
Okay. Like I said, I usually watch all these videos before I do the I usually watch them before I do the show. And the reason for that is that I know what's in it and I can tell, okay, this is actually a pretty good video. This is a good video. This is an okay video, which is right on the edge of I want to do it. This is a bad video. This is a really bad video. This video's worthless. And some of them you could tell from like the get-go that's worthless. But this one I think isn't great. And I think next week I'll show you like a really bad video just to prove my point. But yeah, he does say a lot of things that he contradicts a bit.
this is an exercise that you can do with just 2 dumbbells, yet it's extremely effective at targeting the anterior and the lateral shoulder heads. This exercise is very easy to set up and it can be done.
You just explaining the exercise. There's not much to say here.
Done standing or seated. I recommend doing it seated so that your back is supported. This way you can use heavier weights to target.
This face is awful. Also, okay, so he's gonna say you can use heavier weights because you're seated. So on one point I'm going to say maybe, but on another one I'm going to probably say no. And the reason I'm going to say kind of no is because you're limiting some of the kinetic chain. Now, it does take it's a lot of effort to get good at standing overhead press. Like, it's highly fatiguing. And that might be a reason why you rather do it seated. And I think that's a better reason than I could do more weight. Say the fatigue ratio is lower. And just because your back's supported, well, should be, doesn't mean it will be. You might have a very large arch, or you might just have bad posture for this. I want to say bad posture for this because I don't think there's such thing as bad posture. There's posture that benefits maybe what you want more, but there's not bad posture. Unless, like, you walk around like a slinky. Then that might be bad posture.
Target your shoulders even better. So
Okay, so heavier weight does not mean you're getting more development. Typically, that means your strength's going up, sure. And you do need to kind of push the limits of what you can do over time. But a lot of size development comes from volume. Now, obviously, you're not going to get big shoulders with like 2.5s. But just because you can do heavier weights does not mean it's always better.
take a seat with 2 heavy dumbbells planted on your knees. Then you're going to kick 1 dumbbell up at a time to bring them over your shoulders and rotate your arms.
Okay, I don't like this at all. Maybe this is just me because I have shoulder issues, but I prefer your elbows be in a 45-degree angle with your chest. Like sternum straight, your elbow should be at a 45-degree angle. All the way out like this, I think puts too much pressure on the joint. When you're a little bit in, you have a little more support. You're reducing that moment arm. Moment arm being the moment arm beating. The moment arm being, and the moment arm's just the distance from the point of movement to the stable point. By reducing the moment arm, you should be able to like lift more weight, as he said, which I don't think is as important as he's saying. But if you do want to move more weight, you need to move the moment arm a little bit closer. But in this position, you have a little more support. You should be a little stronger, right at 45 degrees or closer. I like to do mine a little bit closer. It's almost like a close grip bench. But yeah, all the way out like this is usually not great for the shoulder joint because the moment arm is from your, well, technically from here all the way to here. But if you get in a little bit closer, you might think, oh, well, that's like the same. But it's honestly not. It seems like the same, but most people who bring their elbows in 45 degrees will usually say they feel more stable.
Out to get into the starting position. From there, press straight up over your head until the dumbbells are almost touching. Then lower back down until the dumbbells are even with your ears.
Remember what he's saying here because he's going to contradict himself in about 2 minutes.
Or a little lower, and then repeat for reps. Right alongside this exercise, and what many people consider to be an even better shoulder builder, is the barbell military press.
Remember what he's saying.
If you have a barbell, this exercise will allow you to load a much heavier weight load since both arms are working together at the same time. Working on...
I mean, there's also benefits to using, dumbbells over barbells. When you use a barbell, you are more likely to overcompensate for weaknesses. This doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. You should do both. But, do one... But like dumbbells have their place, and honestly, I think I'm one of those people who thinks like every lifting modality has its place. So lifting heavier all the time is not exactly what's the most beneficial. It's looking at what you need. Are you like really unbalanced? Dumbbells will probably be better. And dumbbells are more easily accessible. Everyone's on the barbells. If you learn how to do shoulder press with dumbbells, you'll probably have a much easier time getting in and out of the gym. Because, as you know, you're resting. No, you grow when you're resting. You're not growing when you're training. And there's another video by Johnny Shreve I thought about doing where he was like, oh, you can't get a good workout in a short amount of time. Like 30 minutes. I'm like, no, you absolutely can't. You can't do it like the guy you're covering. But you definitely can. But whatever. It's fine.
Increasing the weight load tends to help bulk up the muscles that you're targeting over time.
More like increasing volume, but whatever.
Just like the dumbbells, you can do these standing, but I recommend doing them seated so that your back is supported, as it'll once again allow you to lift heavier weight.
Again, I don't really give a shit about lifting heavier weight. Have good form, and seated will be less fatiguing on the whole system, which is your body. So I don't agree with his reasoning. I would say do standing if you can. Number one, it's more functional, and I know functional is kind of a silly word, but you're not going to be overhead pressing a lot of things sitting down. And he's also forgetting, the Z press, which is another seated shoulder press exercise that uses your core more. So, I don't know. I don't like his reasoning here. It's like you should go heavier, heavier, heavier. I think it's kind of pushes the wrong message a bit.
So take a seat and grip the bar about thumb's distance apart from where the knurling starts. Lift the bar off the rack and slowly lower down towards your chest. As you do this, you'll have to shift your head back to give the bar space to pass. Also, you have the option to lower it down right to your chin before pressing back up, but I personally like...
Okay, so let's talk about what he just contradicted himself with. So with the dumbbells, he said, do not go much farther past your ears. Much lower than your ears. But with the barbell, he says, go to your chin, which I don't know about you guys, but my chin is lower than my ears or the chest. Why are we having like different ranges of motion? Is it because your elbows are in a really shitty position? Maybe. But honestly, this might be controversial. This might be a little bit of a hot take. Your dumbbell exercises and your barbell exercises should not be very different if they are like the same exercise. Like your dumbbell bench press should follow a lot of the same rules as your barbell bench press. Now, of course, it's a different tool that you're using, so it's going to come with different capabilities you could do and slightly different positioning and whatever. But the principles should remain the same. The range of motion should be almost identical if possible. So yeah, that whole thing, he already contradicted himself, and I don't like it. Don't like it at all.
I like to get a full range of motion on this exercise, so I like to bring the bar all the way down to my chest before...
Why don't you like the full range of motion on dumbbell shoulder press? He didn't really explain that, or this one.
Pressing back up and repeating for reps. Another pressing exercise that you should be doing is the Arnold press. Arnold presses allow you to go through an even greater range of motion.
I like Arnold press as an accessory just because more overhead pressing. A lot of people don't overhead press enough. You know what I realized? I talk too fast. Like I need to take a second, breathe, and then say what I have to say. Because otherwise I stammer a little bit.
Giving you a stretch at the bottom that most other pressing exercises simply don't provide. They also target your lateral head better than most other pressing exercises as well. So just like regular dumbbell presses, you'll start by sitting on a bench with the dumbbells on your knees.
He's not specifying, because the first one he said heavy. And I don't think he said anything for barbell. Now he's just saying dumbbells. This is something I don't like about a lot of videos like this, is that we're not explaining every part of what we're doing. Now you might think that's unnecessary, but I think you should be consistent. Here's one exercise, here's why we're doing it, here's the weight I think you should be doing, here's the sets and reps, the range of motion. If you're covering those 4 things, then you should cover those 4 things for all the exercises, unless you're being consistent with those ideas, which he's not. Now you might think, this is a lot of nitpicking you're doing. Sure, but I think the smaller details are what's more important than the big, crazy ones.
Then bring the dumbbells up to the starting position, which is going to look like you just completed a bicep curl. Your palms should be facing towards your body and your elbows should be directly under your hands. Next, you're going to press up, and as you're doing that, rotate your hands inwards so that at the top of the press...
Oh, by the way, I don't really have a problem with this exercise selection here. I think these are good exercises. I don't think they're the only ones you need, but none of these are like bad choices. I just don't like how he's explaining a lot of it. And this shit.
Your palms are now facing away from you. Then lower back down while turning your hands back outward and return to the starting position with the dumbbells curled against your shoulders. Then repeat. Next is the bent arm lateral raise.
Okay, I'm gonna have a lot to say here. I think it's a lot. I don't know. We can talk about it.
This is an exercise that you definitely want to be doing even if you're already doing regular lateral raises. Since bending your arm creates a shorter lever length, you're able to lift more weight with the bent
Lever length is the same as the moment
arm lateral raises, once again assisting with shoulder development.
Okay, so let's talk about this. Using heavy weights does not mean you are getting better results. I don't really understand why he keeps saying this. This isn't like an older video. Yes, I'm keeping that funny face because I think it's funny. This isn't an older video. This is like maybe a month ago. Almost a month from when this is live. Okay, number one. Okay. Using heavier weights does not mean you're going to increase your size. There are powerlifters who are very small who lift a lot of weight, but they're small. Muscle size is usually consistent with increases in volume. Volume is not only weight, it is also sets and reps. So, yeah, I don't think what he's saying here is correct at all. Number two, on the lateral raise, if your arms are straight, you get a very similar stimulus with lighter weight as you do with heavier weights on the bent arm one. The only difference really is that, oh, I've shortened the lever arm so I can use heavier weights. It's like, yeah, but if you use lighter weights and you straighten out your arms, you'll still get a very good stimulus. In fact, I don't think it's much different. I don't know what the ratio would be, but it wouldn't be like that much different. The only thing I could really say about that is that, what do you prefer? Do you want to feel like you're lifting more weight? Or are you fine with a little bit lighter weight? Like, bending your arm doesn't really give you any benefit other than you're lifting more weight, but with a straight arm, you're lifting less weight, but getting pretty much the same stimulus. So what he's saying isn't correct. It's all just preference.
To begin, grab 2 dumbbells and position them in front of your body. Then bend slightly forward to better target your lateral deltoid and to prevent your body from getting...
In fact, you know what a better exercise than this is? The Y raise. The Y raise is, let me show you what that is real quick, because I can do that. Y raise. Right here. Why is it light mode? I'm pretty sure I have YouTube in dark mode. I am so sorry, everyone. Dark mode. Always dark mode. My device isn't even in light mode. It's always in dark. Stupid YouTube. This is just one version, right? Let's see if we can see the motion. See? You're going through a similar motion as the lateral raise and any rear delt exercise. This is ultimately the better exercise in general. And there's other versions. You have, see, like the cable Y raise. Well, that guy's pretty buff. And watch. And he's gonna just watch. Hold on. We're gonna get to it. Y. You're gonna get your lateral and your rear delt. So yeah, the fact that these are the only exercises you need is already wrong, because there's like better versions of most of these already.
In the way. Once you're in this starting position, raise the dumbbells to your sides, trying to keep your elbows slightly higher than your hands the entire time. As you raise up, your elbows should be at 90-degree angles, and your armpit should also create a 90-degree angle at the top of the movement. Then slowly lower back down and repeat for reps. You can do this exercise seated as well.
So I think, does he keep reps in here? No, he just writes a fucking essay. Not that I have any problem with length. I just don't feel like looking through all of that shit.
Well, by sliding to the edge of the bench and passing the dumbbells under your thighs for every rep. Another exercise for the lateral head that I feel is a much better variation than regular lateral raises is...
Then why the fuck did you include the other one? Like, I really hate this kind of stuff. Where you will be like, oh, well, here's an exercise, but here's a much better one. Why don't you start with the better one and then go to the lesser ones just in case you can't do this or something? Like, whatever. It's really annoying.
Is the leaning lateral raise. The leaning lateral raise will allow you to get a greater range of motion at the top of the movement, overloading that portion and making it harder to complete.
Overloading. This funny terminology. I don't have a huge deal with it. I'm just pointing it out.
To perform leaning lateral raises, you'll first need something sturdy that you can hold on to. Either a rack barbell or a squat rack will work just fine, but anything sturdy that you can hold on to while leaning away will work. So,
okay.
belt or a squat rack will work just fine, but anything sturdy...
Wow, look at him. He's leaning away so hard. It's almost like this visual does not match what the fuck you're saying. I'm getting irritated at this point, so prepare for a little more cursing.
That you can hold on to while leaning away will work. So in this demonstration, I'm going to grab the post of a squat rack, and then from there, you want to walk your feet closer to the post while straightening the arm that's holding onto it so that you're leaning out to one side. Then simply raise the dumbbell up and out to your side while keeping...
Now you're probably thinking I'm going to pick on him for like straightening out your arm, but it's bent right here. No, it's fine. A lot of times you'll probably feel better with a slightly bent arm and these kind of movements, because if you have it completely straight, it'll start hurting. At least if you bend it, your musculature can kind of help relieve some of that tension. So that's fine. I'm not going to pick on him for that.
Keeping your elbow slightly bent. Raise the dumbbell all the way up until your arm is parallel to the ground, then lower back down and repeat. Now the truth is that it's easy to target the front heads of your shoulders with compound exercises like most presses, to the point...
I wish he didn't talk about this now. I wish he talked about it earlier. When he was talking about presses, there's a lot of like organizational things in this video that I'm really fucking irritated by. Like, come on, man. Organize better.
Point that it's not really necessary to do isolation exercises like frontal raises at all. It's a little more challenging to target that middle head, but it's most challenging to hit the back of your shoulders. So one of the best isolation exercises that you should definitely be doing to balance out your shoulder development is the reverse fly. Here you would grab two dumbbells.
Wait a second.
For every rep. Another exercise for the lateral head that I feel
Hold on.
as well by sliding to the edge of the bench and passing the dumbbells under your thigh.
Okay. Wait. I go back to where we were. Excuse me. Arch.
The best isolation exercises that you should definitely be doing to balance out your shoulder development is the reverse fly.
I mean, you could do a face pull instead, but, you know, this one's better for some reason, because this is the only one you need. I don't know.
Here you would grab two dumbbells and bend down until your chest is almost parallel to the
Now, you
ground.
might be saying, well, maybe he's just sticking with things that you could find at every gym. Just wait a second.
While doing this, make sure you keep the natural arc in your back rather
Natural arc.
than letting your spine completely round forward. Then while keeping your elbows slightly bent, you're going to perform a reverse fly. Natural arc.
Natural arc. Arc. That's arch. Anyway, he could like straighten out his back a little bit more. I don't know how he got in this position, but this isn't great, especially for what he's talking about. He needs to like big chest down there, brother.
In your back rather than letting your spine completely round forward. Then while keeping your elbows slightly bent, you're going to perform a reverse fly by bringing the dumbbells out to your sides and then towards the ceiling in an arc-like motion.
I don't know how else you're gonna do that in a motion like that. Can you do it in a square motion? Okay, at this point I'm just making fun of him. He's fine. Like, again, his exercise selection is fine. These are not the only shoulder exercises you need. Like, there are a ton of variations that you can replace all of these with, and you'll be, like, absolutely fine. But yeah, these aren't, like, bad exercises. In fact, I'm sure everyone who's serious about the gym does at least one or two of these.
Then bring the dumbbells back together and repeat for reps. These can also be done seated with you bent over your knees by passing the dumbbell.
I don't like these at all. They hurt my back a lot. I think I've programmed a couple of them, but I would, if you were to ask me, would I do it again? I'd say no. Unless, like, you absolutely have to.
Dumbbells under your legs, just like we would do with the bent arm lateral raises. Now, both of these variations are isolation exercises, but luckily there is a compound exercise.
Why did you talk about the... Oh my god. Okay. This little clip thing where he's like, oh, it's hard to target, like, your lateral head and your rear head with compound exercises. And then you go to an isolation exercise instead of starting with the compound exercise. I really don't get this organization. I think it's bullshit. And it really frustrates me. Because you could do so much better with just, like, changing up your script slightly.
That works the back of your shoulder very effectively.
This is not a great green screen. He's all fuzzy all the way around. I think you could get like a slightly better green screen. Or maybe not use white. I don't know.
And since it's so hard to hit the back of your shoulder, this is definitely one that you want to incorporate into your routine.
I have words about this exercise.
High rows. You can do these with a barbell or with dumbbells. The key is to grab the weight and bend down until your upper body is once again almost parallel to the ground. Then
okay, so what I rather you do, personally, if you're going to do a row, get the bar, get it all set up, then do like a deadlift, like deadlift it up and then lower yourself back down. That will help like get your back straight instead of just starting down here, because I used to do that and it never really worked out because it's hard to straighten out down here. It's easier to straighten out and then come down.
Row straight back with your elbows flared out and up.
No. Don't. I would recommend against doing this. Number one, remember what I said about the shoulder press with the Halo video where your elbows should be under your wrists? Yeah, no, I still think that. Your elbows should be under your wrists, which is the shoulder press thing, which for some reason I just could not remember when I was talking about it. In fact, let's go back. We're at 551. Let's go back here.
With dumbbell overhead presses, because this is an exercise that you can do with just done standing or seated. I recommend doing it seated so that your back is supported.
Okay. It's fine. It's not going against my point. Never mind. He's fine. I will keep my criticism from before. But here, I'm going to say it. Your wrist should be under your elbows. Which is why flaring out is a bad idea. 45-degree angle, you can keep your wrist and your elbow in line. That helps with shortening the moment arm and keeping undue stress on the shoulder joint so you can work on the muscle. Now, you might be saying, well, he's talking about working your rear delt. Newsflash. All rows work your rear delt. It's literally the bench press for your back. So, what's like the anterior delt of your backside? Your rear delt. So, while you might be saying, oh, it's hard to hit this, you might just not be doing enough rows. I don't know. That's just me. But you don't need to, like, do this to hit your rear delt. This is like saying, oh, I need to flare out my elbows on bench press so I can hit my anterior delts. I know that's not the motion they do, but honestly, come on. Oh, hit the mic a little bit. Hope y'all didn't get that.
high, aiming to row the barbell or the dumbbells higher up towards your chest rather than your belly button like you would with regular rows.
Honestly, I'd say just find somewhere comfortable to row it to. It's not going to make that big of a difference because the barbell is like closer to your chest or closer to your belly button. Just have really good form and your rear delts will get a lot of work in just with the row in general.
From there, you would just lower the weight back down while staying in that bent over position with your back.
Again, this position's not great. His ass is too high up. Just bend your knees a little bit more. In fact, not row it. Like deadlift it up and then lower yourself back down. It'll help keep your back a little straighter.
Maintaining its neutral arc, and then repeat for reps. Another exercise that can be just as effective for the back of your shoulders is the...
So why are we doing like cape? Okay, what's the point? This one might be I might be being a little pedantic here, but what's the point in we have a barbell shoulder press, we have a dumbbell shoulder press. Why do we have both? Why couldn't it just be a sub, like an alternative? Like, hey, here is the barbell press, and if you don't have a barbell available, or you prefer dumbbells, or you have like imbalancing issues, you can do it with dumbbells. Why do we have the cable and the dumbbell one? Why isn't it like, here's the dumbbell one, and here is an alternative to it, the cable fly? Not only that, why isn't this with the cable fly instead of doing, oh, we're going to do a reverse fly, and now we're going to do a compound exercise, now we're going to do another fly. Like, again, the organization of this video doesn't make much sense. You should put like things next to each other so you could put the same ideas with each other and talk about it. Be like, okay, this is like that, blah, 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 blah. And then here is another exercise that's similar to this in this way or that way.
Cable reverse fly. Here you would position two cables a little higher than shoulder height. You can use D-handle attachments to take a neutral grip to perform this exercise, but I like to grip the cables themselves behind the carabiner. So to begin, you're going to face forward towards the cable.
He doesn't say this, but I'm going to say it. If you're going to do this, make sure like switching your hand position on every rep, not every rep because that's a pain in the ass, but like every set. So like maybe this set, your left hand's above, next set it's under, next set it's above, next set it's under. So 4 sets. Just for like balance sake. I know it's not going to make a huge difference, but I like to be symmetrical as much as I can.
Cross and grab the left cable with your right hand. Then cross your left arm over your right arm and grab the right cable in your left hand. So that's your starting position with both arms crossed over each other. From there, you're going to open your arms and bring the cables back in that same arc-like path.
Look at
with
that
your
face.
elbows slightly bent the entire time. After bringing both cables all the way back, squeeze your shoulder blades together for a second before slowly returning the weights back to the starting position with your arms crossed over, and then repeat for reps. The next exercise is if you're stuck at home and you don't have dumbbells or barbells or really any equipment. You don't have to do this if you do have the equipment to do these other exercises that we've already gone over. But if you don't, pike push-ups are really good.
Pike push-ups are just great in general. But I don't like what he's suggesting with this because I actually really like pike push-ups. They were a big step for me when so I had shoulder surgery on both shoulders, and like it took months and months and months to get to a point where I was comfortable doing shoulder presses, and I did these first because it reduced the range of motion quite a bit.
Good at developing your shoulders utilizing only your body weight. Most people do these on the ground, and if you're a beginner, you should definitely start on the ground to get a good feel of how to do this exercise properly.
Why only a beginner? There's plenty of people who do it on the ground. In fact, hold on.
However, once you become more comfortable,
this is a terrible diagram, by the way. Your feet should be way closer. Like this is like, oh, I've just barely started.
On the ground, I recommend trying to elevate off the ground.
Yeah, this is more what you would do when you become more advanced. Now, his next suggestion is fine, but usually if you know what, let's go do it first, and then I'll talk about it.
By using stable platforms of some sort to allow for a greater range of motion. When you do these on the ground, your head prevents you from getting a good stretch in the shoulders. Meanwhile, on platforms, you can go a lot lower and challenge yourself a lot more. You would just set up 3 platforms, one of which you would put both your feet on, and then you would put one hand on each of the others. For once, you'll want to actually raise your hips up in the air so that your body forms a triangle shape. Then lower yourself down for a push-up until you get a nice stretch in your shoulders and your upper chest. And from there, press back up to the starting position.
Okay, everything he said right there is absolutely fine. I'm not criticizing him for that. What I am saying is usually the more advanced version of a pike push-up is a handstand push-up, like using the wall as support. Now, I think this one's technically better since you're getting more range of motion. But a handstand push-up would be just more resistance in general. So, I think this is fine. Not a big dealio. Although, if you've seen the CrossFit, is it a kipping handstand push-up? I don't know. But the kippy thing, they just kind of rest on their heads, which I wouldn't do. I've done it. It does not feel great, especially when you're kind of heavy. But yeah, there's 1,000 ways to do this. So I think this is fine. This is actually a pretty good recommendation if you have 2 stable chairs like this and you're strong enough to do that.
Finally, last but not least, is an exercise that helps strengthen the function of shoulder elevation. But I will say it mostly targets the traps, barbell shrugs. And shrugs made it into this video because your traps help complete and balance out the look of your shoulders, and the secondary muscle worked to the traps during shrugs actually happens to be your shoulders.
Are you sure it's not your rhomboids or anything else? Whatever, it's fine. I'm not criticizing, I'm just asking a question.
So I would definitely include a shoulder elevation exercise like barbell or dumbbell shrugs in my routine.
I like his face. He looks like a turtle. I like his face. He looks like a turtle. I had to turn off the video so I could tell you that he looks like a turtle. Yes, I did.
You would just grab a heavy loaded barbell or dumbbells, unrack the weight, and shrug your shoulders straight up.
I would recommend, if you're gonna go heavy, he's not going heavy here. Obviously, he's probably had to do this like 4 times. Number 1, put some fucking clamps on the barbell. Stupid. And number 2, feel free to put straps on. I mean, you're not really working your grip during this one. Like, you're working your traps. So you don't want your grip to become a limiting factor. I'd say put on, like, straps or a Versa grip. Like, take away the chance of you, like, of your grip failing so you can really, like, get after those traps.
Then squeeze at the top for a second before slowly lowering back down and repeating for reps. The main mistake that you want to avoid is barely moving your shoulders up and down because the weight is...
Yes, I 100% agree. Like, this happens way too much where you don't get enough movement because the weight's too heavy. You want to get as high as you can and relax all the way.
It's too heavy. I see this all the time. So performing mini shrugs is a definite...
Yeah, no, don't do that because you're not doing anything. You're just reminding everyone that you're a piece of shit and annoying and you're wasting equipment.
No. And also, don't roll your shoulders on every rep. Instead, just go straight up and down.
Yeah, something really interesting. I've always heard to roll your shoulders. I don't know why you should, and I don't exactly know why you shouldn't. That's going to be something I look up. So, thank you. That's like the best thing about like a video you may or may not agree with. At the very least, you can learn that maybe I don't know something and I can learn from it. Even if it's from the video or from learning outside of the video. It's honestly something that I think is really cool about just discussing like anything. You can always learn something from, like, even a bad argument. You can learn something from a bad argument.
So those are really the only exercises you need for optimal shoulder development.
No, there are alternatives to almost all of these. Like, yeah, maybe you could say you need to hit all these motions, right? Your presses, your raises, your rows, your flies, like a form of all those motions, but you don't really need these exercises exactly.
The The reason why there's so many posterior deltoid exercises and so few anterior deltoid exercises is because the front part of your shoulder gets constant work even during exercises like bench press. So usually
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just don't even do anterior delt exercises. Most people's anterior delts are overdeveloped anyway.
additional isolation exercises are not necessary. On the other hand, the middle and especially the back parts of your shoulder need that extra focus to develop in proportion with the rest.
If you're doing enough rows, then your rear delt should get a lot of development, but lateral head definitely needs its own exercises to develop properly.
Now, as usual, I don't recommend you do all of these exercises in one giant workout. I would take half.
I do. Just kidding. Don't do that. If you're the type to do a shoulder day, then yeah, he's about to say you could do like half in a training session. I think that's fine. Like I said, the exercises here are fine, except for the row. I think the row's crap. But other than that, the exercises here are mostly fine. Just like, they're not the only ones you need. There are so many alternatives you can do for all of these.
And combine them into a shoulder workout of your own. An example would be to start with military presses for 3 sets of 6 to 10 reps.
Fine. I'd say 4 sets, but that's fine.
Then move on to bent arm lateral raises for 3
Sure.
sets of 8 to 10 reps, followed by high rows for 3 sets of 8.
Cross out that high. Do regular bent over rows or a cable row. Sure.
8 to 10 reps. Then move on to reverse cable flies for 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps. And finally,
Sure. And then, yeah, that's fine.
finish off with shrugs for 3 sets of 10 reps. You can save the other half of the exercises for your second arm training day of that week. I really hope this video has helped you out. These are truly the only shoulder exercises that you really need, and there's
No. Also, that's really funny. You don't need anterior work. But guess what I'm going to show a video of?
no reason why you can't develop
Front
really
raises.
nice cap-like shoulders
Remember, if you're going to make videos like this, match the visuals with what you're saying and the ideas of the video.
with some consistency at these exercises. If you like this content, make sure you subscribe to this channel where you can get
Yeah, I didn't do that with Paramount because fuck them. Yeah, if you, I don't like his channel that much, but if you do, go ahead and hit the subscribe. Gravity Transformation. Like I said, I don't agree with all of his stuff, but listening to him definitely won't. There are a lot worse things on the internet when it comes to fitness than this guy. Okay, this guy's not the worst. His information I think is kind of not great, but it's not terrible. Like, if you didn't notice, I was agreeing mostly with the things he was saying. Oh yeah, and this guy did like a whole little timestamp thing, which is so nice. I like when people do this. That's kind of them. The only extra list. Well, no, he did not list enough of them. This guy's videos are literally always so perfect. No. Nothing is truly fast. Consistency, yeah. Thorough, my ass. He was not thorough at all. You've lost 40 pounds of fat since... No, you didn't. You don't know what you're talking about. You might have lost 40 pounds, and even then I'd be a little skeptical. But 40 pounds of fat? Get the fuck out of here. Awesome advice, yeah. Well, I mean, most people are really positive. I don't know if he filters his, comment section or whatever, but yeah. So that is the video. Let's pop on the thing real quick. So yeah, we covered 2 videos. Not real quick. It took a while, but I'm happy with that coverage. I thought it was pretty good stuff. So the Spartan video, I honestly thought was pretty shit. The gravity transformation video, it could have been better. I like his exercise selection. 9 out of 10 of them I liked. I didn't like all of his advice. I thought a lot of it was inconsistent or contradicted itself and was poorly organized. But you can learn a lot from that. The only one I would say don't do is the high rows. Just do regular rows. But yeah, that's the video. I hope we got something out of it. I certainly did. I have stuff to look up and learn a little bit more about. So next week's episode, I think I'm going to cover at least one video that's a bit more subpar. And we'll try to find another video to go with that. I kind of want to line it up. I think it's a no equipment video. So we'll find something that's calisthenics based that I have something to talk about. But yeah, that is the video. Not the video. That's the show. Hopefully, I want to keep this going. I actually really enjoy doing this. It's fun. I think you could kind of tell I was getting more comfortable as we were getting towards the end. But yeah, like I said, this is mostly for practice for me. But if you like watching and talking and commenting, I highly appreciate it. I like feedback. I fixed a lot of my settings, so it should just look better overall. So not only should the stream look better, I should sound better, a little bit louder. Hopefully you don't get all my weird mouth stuff. Because I do drink coffee during this. I know, shocking. I need it because I'm tired. But yeah, that's the video. And because I drink coffee without eating, I have to take a shit. So yeah, I'll see y'all next time. Later. Oh wait, before I go. Links for stuff's in the description. Links to the videos. Link to support me. Yeah, that's about it. Okay, have fun. That was the show. I'll see y'all next week. Or this week. Or whenever I decide to do this again. Bye-o.